Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Charlie Loves Science. We've got new research to bring to your attention out of the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. It is a discovery again that's going to make tracking global sea level rise and modeling that global sea level rise more accurate and more trustworthy. And that is something here in eastern North Carolina is very important to us. Now, here is a look at exactly global sea level rise or mean sea level rise. We got to talk about the basics of it before we can get into obviously the cool research that is being done in Hong Kong. There are two main ways where we really see global mean sea level rise increase. One is you a whole lot of melt. If you've got a bunch of ice that is sitting on land, say over the mountains or say in Greenland, all of that ice is not in the ocean. But once it melts and flows off into the ocean, then sea levels rise because you are taking water that is not in the ocean and putting it in the ocean. Pretty simple stuff. Then we also have, this one's a little bit more tricky, but I think we can all grasp it, thermal expansion or temperature increase. We're talking about global warming, and the warmer we get, the more things expand, particularly our oceans. And it all comes back to high school science. Sorry to hit you guys with it, but this is Charlie Loves Science. And the ideal gas law is one of my favorite equations. It's one of the four governing equations of the atmosphere, but it can also be used, again, not just to talk about gases, but even liquids. We're going to simplify it down. There is PV equals nRE, the actual equation. Pressure times volume equals the number of moles of a substance times dry air constant times temperature. There is your relationship. But we're going to simplify it down a little bit more. We're going to stick with just volume is related to temperature. Obviously, there's nR divided by T that can be tacked on, obviously, to the temperature to get the actual volume. But in this instance, we're just going with relationships. As temperatures rise, volume rises as well. And this would be true in the flip. If we saw global temperatures start to decrease, we would see the amount of water in the oceans, or I should really say, the volume of water in the oceans would decrease as well. So those are kind of the two main things that again bring us to global mean sea level rise. Now let's talk about how we measure it right now. We use satellites and lasers. Those lasers shoot down at the surface of the ocean and can pick up, again, readings and measurements based off of the fluctuations they see over a year-to-year basis. Now, there is a problem there, and that spatial resolution limitations have really kept us from accurate, very accurate measurements. When we're talking about accuracy, we're talking about down to the millimeter. If you're somehow in space shooting it all the way down at the surface of the ocean and you're able to measure it within the millimeter, you're doing something right. And that's exactly what the researchers at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University actually discovered, is a way to actually do this. And it has led to more accurate ocean measurements across the globe. That is fantastic news for us. Now, ocean mass, or barystatic sea level, helps understand present-day global mean sea level rise. We again see more ocean mass, it can give us an idea of how much mass we are losing off of our ice caps and our frozen stores of water on land and putting them into the ocean. If we know that, we can subtract that and kind of get an idea of how much thermal expansion is also going on. So we can get a better idea of exactly what and how the oceans are being impacted from global warming and climate change. Now, the research revealed that about 60% of the ocean's rise between 1993 and 2022 has been due to barystatic sea level rise, or, to put it in layman's terms, ocean mass increase. Ocean mass has increased by about 60% from 1993 to 2022, or at least 60% of the rise has been attributed, that's a better way to put it, has been attributed to additional water flowing into the ocean. So here is again an actual look at sea level rise over the years. It's very slow, it's very gradual, but since 1993 to 2022, we gained about 90 millimeters or 9 centimeters of water. This will go even beyond that. 2025, we have added since 1993 about 10 centimeters, a little bit over 10 centimeters of water in our oceans. Not good for us here in eastern North Carolina along the coast. I do want to read a quote from one of the leading professors of the study, Professor Junlin Lee Chen. He is the chair professor at Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and he said, quote, "In recent decades, climate warming has led to accelerated land ice loss, which has played an increasingly dominant role driving global sea level rise. Our research enables the direct quantification of global ocean mass increase and provides a comprehensive assessment of its long-term impact on sea level budget. This offers crucial data for validating coupled climate models used to project future sea level rise scenarios." Here we are in eastern North Carolina. We know about sea level rise and the fact that we are on the front lines of the sea level rise war. It is not one that right now the Outer Banks unfortunately is winning. Not the case. There you can again see video that was made by Jenny Kunst of Epic Shutter Photography of the ocean rushing under some of those houses in Buxton. Not just under the houses, but then beyond. You can see them going into the street that those houses sit on, down the next street, and even further, extending all the way into, again, 2 streets beyond. Seeing again lots of water there. So this is clearly an issue that is going to be very important for eastern North Carolinians over the next 20 to 50 years. And unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of promise in terms of solving the problem. All we can really do is increase our resiliency, make plans to, again, evacuate when things get bad and get rough, and make sure, again, that people who are on the Outer Banks who may need some help have it. Always make sure to lend a hand to your neighbor, especially as we are faced with trying times from the environment. That's all we have time for today's Charlie Loves Science. I want to thank you all so much for joining. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, have a fantastic Wednesday and take care of the environment.